Vechain's VET token is on the verge of a massive breakout, and here is your chance to get in early. Okay guys, so Vechain has been on a monstrous rally so far. We have seen some pretty decent growth all the way back from June 2023 to this peak that we had up in February of 2024. It was a 317% move. Since this phenomenal growth for Vechain, we have seen a bit of a cooling off, and this is presenting itself with quite the opportunity. We do see a significant pull to the downside here. Okay, this is coming in at a pretty reasonable 36.36%. Okay, so it's come down quite nicely. It's definitely held up much better than many other altcoins out there, and that in itself is a pretty interesting tell. People are holding on to their VET tokens. They're not looking to just liquidate them and have and basically look for their next kind of big opportunity. They're actually thinking this is holding up reasonably well, and unlike other altcoins, we are actually still above our 200 exponential moving average. So for Vechain here, it is looking pretty good. The other things that we can note is we have an overlapping nature of these candlesticks. So we have a three-wave pattern coming down here. We have, again, another three-wave pattern to the upside. And at the moment, we see just two waves playing out, and we're looking for one additional wave down, which it appears that has already started. So this is the opportunity not to be missing out on, because what we saw previously was this five-wave pattern to the upside. Five-wave patterns are known as a trend. We obviously are above our 200 exponential moving average as well, also confirming our upward trend movements here for Vechain. Let me simplify these wave counts that we've got going on at the moment, and I'll share my thoughts and opinions on where things are likely to go. So here we can see that we've kind of bounced up quite nicely. I'm just going to go ahead and put on a Fibonacci retracement tool. We've had this initial move down. We bounced up to here. Okay, this wick coming in at the high of 4.75. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust our ratio to 4.75 on the Fibonacci retracement tool. And you can see that our expectations is going to be a move into this little yellow box area down here. I'm just going to go ahead and actually remove the old one off. So you can see just here, it comes in at 2.943 to 3.225. There's no guarantees that we come down here. The minimum expectation that I would have is a retest of the existing bottom at 3.5 cent. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the fibs, and so you can see what we're really referring to is the idea of a three-wave move like this coming down towards our 3.2 cent range. Okay, now the double bottom would be also a bullish tail where we look to lift up from there. It could just be a wick that comes down lower than our 200 exponential moving average. At the moment, we haven't been interacting with the 200 EMA since November 2023. We kind of got close over in January 2024, and most recently we came close towards it on the 13th of April, but we've managed to avoid it. I do think we're likely to see a little bit of a pull to the downside, a little bit of a cross maybe on that 200, but as long as we do not close the candle lower than the 200 exponential moving average on the daily time frame, it's actually going to show us with some pretty decent areas. Let's go ahead and take a look at the macro view of this particular structure, because if we do have this kind of come down into this range, it's going to basically be only the higher side of it. As you can kind of see here, this overlapping range is very interesting. This range here between 3.127 and 3.441. This is the macro move for Vechain in this particular instance. Let me show you what that looks like with a new three-wave movement just here. This little overlap is the kind of range where we have the common denominator. It's basically saying the internal structure of the Y wave is coming in right into this range here. Okay, so our expectations really, if we were to take that bigger macro view, would be a low of 2.9 to a high of around 3.435. Okay, and that's where we're going to find reversal, and that's where we're going to find the next big opportunity for Vechain. Because if we do this, what comes is another five-wave movement to the upside, another 300% move for Vechain. It could be absolutely phenomenal. So as you can kind of see here, it would put Vechain right back up towards 13 to 18 cent, and it would be very, very impulsive in the way that it goes. Now, if it does this and exceeds it, and targets out 31, not only are we kind of in the range of new all-time highs, we are also in the range of an impulsive breakout. And that impulsive breakout will send Vechain's price even higher. And that is going to be something to be kind of really watching out for in the coming kind of weeks. So I think for everything that's going on with Vechain here, we have this idea that, yeah, we still might see a little bit of volatility to the downside on Vechain's price action, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be the end of the world. I see this as actually as a huge opportunity to dollar cost average into bigger positions on Vechain for what happens next. Now, there is one other kind of bearish scenario that could play out, that essentially we do bounce from down here, but it's a part of a bigger three-wave correction where we have to come down lower later. So we want to be mindful over these things, but from this low area of around that kind of 3.4 cent is going to be the area for a bounce. Now, we can obviously choose to stay in or come out of those positions depending on later data, but for now, it's actually looking reasonable. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Smart Money Concepts is also showing us. So Smart Money Concepts shows us with basically still a bullish movement to the upside. It hasn't been broken. We have been dancing around equilibrium at the moment, and we're trying to find support here. Okay, so at the moment, this is where the resistances are, right on the 50 simple moving average at 4.3 cent, and right on the equilibrium, the 50% area between the discounted range and the premium range within the price chart. So outside of that, there isn't anything else actually standing out from the Smart Money Concept side of things. It's actually looking okay, so I'll turn that off and keep the chart looking nice and clean. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stochastics. Well, the stochastic RSI on the daily time frame is still tilting down. Okay, we can see here that if we were to draw a trend line in, we're looking negative here. We are lower than the mid-level. We're still looking at momentum shifting down. I think this is across the broader crypto market. It isn't just specific to that of Vechain, but it does show us that momentum is starting to reset. There's lack of selling pressure. We're starting to kind of consolidate down a little bit. We might have a little bit of volatility in the price action. We might have to come down a little bit more, but ultimately things are actually starting to heat up. They're starting to look pretty decent. Taking a look at it from the RSI point of view and divergence related to price, we can see that again we're below the 50% level on the RSI, so it is still unfortunately looking like momentum is shifting down rather than up. So a lot more selling rather than buying, but it doesn't actually seem to have terribly too much impact on the price action of VET at the moment, and that's a big positive. And why not? We might as well take a look at the MACDs as well. If I can actually load this, I don't know why it's not. Let me go ahead. There we go. So as we can kind of see here, we have actually got some interesting data on the MACD. It has already come down quite aggressively, and it is looking to bottom out. We can also see that the selling pressure on the histogram really isn't there. It is kind of easing off. This is also another indication as to why we are seeing the price actually stalling out at less 36% from that local high, indicating it's holding up incredibly well and a lot more actually than many of the other altcoins in the space. So all in all, actually everything on Vechain's side of things is looking okay. You can also see just here from the volume side that the volumes are actually coming down as prices starting to cool off a bit, indicating that there isn't really an appetite to liquidate their assets at the moment. So all in all, I'm not terribly too concerned. Everything's looking pretty good from the indicator side of things. It's looking good from the Elliott Wave theory perspective. It's also looking very, very good from the Smart Money Concepts side of things. So everything for Vechain isn't actually all that worrying. It does look like a huge opportunity to dollar cost average and build out those positions, but do be a little bit concerned over that bigger macro where we might see the bounce, but actually get rejection a little bit higher, in which case we can take that as a swing trade coming out of the positions using one of our favored exchanges, BitGet or Blowfin. Blowfin is making waves in the space at the minute as well, so why not check that out? All the links are in the description down below. Guys, why don't you check out this video just here where I'm discussing what's going on with XRP, some interesting developments that I think you might want to know about.